And so, yeah, I think you
Yeah.
could get into a situation where, you're essentially eliminating your long-term dependency on irrigation without sacrificing your productivity of your pastures. I think you'll even, I think you'll increase it.
Hmm.
And, cause like, do you do you know how many like pounds per acre you're producing for dry matter
No, I have no idea. I
or?
mean, like as I'm rotating, I just leave some behind, like they trample some and they leave
Yeah.
some behind, but I
Eh,
I honestly don't know.
Okay. And what's your recovery time? Like how long before when you move them before they come back?
It was um, it was probably, see, I don't know. I don't have it written down, but like that's why I have all those pictures. I kind of reference
Yeah.
when I take pictures when I got back. And like I said, this is like the second year of rotating
Totally. Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
so I kind of have been doing it just by eye and seeing when
Yeah.
the leaves are fully grown back. Like the tips aren't cut still.
Yeah.
So, but it was probably, I mean, 30 to 60 days.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a pretty decent rotation, especially in your climate. If they're getting that much water, and as long as you're not seeing overgrazing signs and stuff like that. And so, like, something else you could do is increasing. I don't recommend doing like cover cropping in your area because like
Cover cropping.
if you till your soils, one, you're
Oh,
rocky, like so you're gonna have a brutal time with equipment and seeding it. It's not gonna work. Two, it's hard to flood irrigate. It's even worse to flood irrigate tilled soils because there's more evaporation because the soil is black.
mm-hmm.
And so, if you watch a lot of, Gabe Brown stuff where he's getting all these great results with cover crops, it's not worth it for you. You're probably gonna be better off just to increase the diversity of your pastures.
Yep.
And
And I have seen with the rotation
absolutely.
the increase. But
Yeah. And so, one of the other techniques, if you want to introduce more species that we use that we've had a lot of success with, was two is one, we add certain legumes into our mineral.
okay.
And then because certain like basically these are like the legumes like sandfoin and Cicer milkvetch and the clovers and stuff, they actually benefit from going through the digestive system of a cow or a ruminant animal because it breaks down the hard coating and they actually germinate in the manure. And so
Okay.
we've had really good luck with that. Just so that basically, and it's nice because it's a variable rate of seeding. Wherever the sheep are grazing the most, overgrazing the most, they're manuring the most, right? And
Uh-huh.
so, and it's super cheap. You just throw it in with their mineral. But the problem with that is, you're kind of seeding all the time when it's not might not be although for you it's actually probably not a big deal because you're irrigating, so you're going to be balancing out your highs and lows in moisture.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other strategy is to do something called frost seeding, which is basically where you seed, grasses and stuff and
Yep.
legumes in the early spring, right when the frost is kind of coming out of the ground, because that's the ideal time. That's when most grasses and seeds. That's when they germinate because it's the highest moisture of the year, and this freezing and thawing helps them to go through a stratification period so that they germinate. And so, that could be another strategy to increase the diversity
Mm-hmm.
of your pastures because most native prairies would have several hundred species of grasses and forbs and legumes and flowers and stuff like that. And the reason
Okay.
they had so many was because it was just the shotgun approach. They didn't know, they couldn't control when the water was going to get turned on. They had to be able to just when it was dry, you know, 100 of the 300 species would go dormant, and the wet guys and the dry guys would start to grow. And in the wet years, the dry guys would suffer, but the wet guys would grow. And so, slowly increasing the diversity of your pastures, and just by rotational grazing, you will do that. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to kind of play around with that, that's one of the things that I've been doing is just putting a little bit of seed out here and there and kind of seeing, okay, what are the species that like to grow here?
Okay.
Because some of the seeds are really expensive, like Sicer milk fetch, for example, is like